I'm good. Yo, yesterday I was mad as hell. Why the hell am I hype right now? It's crazy. Like this is some sort of a toxic relationship where they will treat you badly and then say sorry. I will do better from now on. I'm gonna do X, Y, Z, and there you are, like a puppy. Like yay! It's crazy, man. Hey yo, what is up guys, it's your boy Toy here. This will be a video of the new developer note, and I think this is long awaited. And however, with just going into the whole developer note, I don't think we will do it as much justice as it would do. So starting with this video, I'd like to talk to you about how companies could develop up better relationships within both their customers but also their internal customers, aka the employees. Let's first talk about transparency. And transparency is meant to show the audience, the people, the customers, to whatever it is that you're working on, the people that you're working with, and how much of a trust bond you can create within not only your customers but also your employees as well. And I just took something quite random, which is an open kitchen policy, which basically shows that transparency could really work. Because for one, the transparency is not only given to your customers but also your employees, showing that you trust them with the work that you give them, as well as them having an open face and be an actual icon for your restaurant as well. Not only does this breed a certain necessity for people that work there to give their all, give their best, but it also shows the customers how much blood, sweat, and tears is actually being used to produce whatever it is. Because in a company's point of view, where there is absolutely no transparency and mistakes are being made continuously, and after that you just get the same apology that you receive every year, your credibility will go down the drain. But if you adapt to open kitchen policy, showing what is actually there, show how the production is, it will then show the people how much blood, sweat, and tears and effort is actually put in there. Because if you look at movies, for instance, it is not necessarily about the protagonist winning. No, it's about the build-up, going through an absolute bottom and then climbing up to that will dictate how good a movie actually turns out to be. Because guess what? Nobody really cares about the winning part at the end of the day of a movie. Now, whether this could be applicable to Vespa and its policy, I'm not quite sure. But there's another thing that I would like to emphasize on. We have more players than actual development team. And you might be saying, well, they get paid, they get hired, whatsoever. But I would like to pay for content if that is necessary. Guess what? I actually do. I do support the game with some money from here and then. But there's also ways that you can support the game as well if the company allows it. Now, if you are a restaurant, you don't want your customers trying to cook your food. That makes no sense. However, if you have a lot of creative minds, and mind you, there are a lot of creative minds within gaming, if you allow to bundle those ideas and then bring it out to the public with the right addressing, then you can use power of thousands. And if you have more millions even, players that will allow you to form your game, which still sticks to your own ideology and still your same goal. So I think if Vespa wants to go further as a gaming company, they will need to use those people, because there are a lot of people who are willing to put in effort for the things that they love, not just money. But not before a humble request that if you guys like this type of content and want to help me out, make sure to like and sub so we can grow this community even further. However, let's start out with the true business. So starting off, we got ourselves a new producer and a CEO. And I'm not quite sure, due to these statements, whether this is both the CEO of Vespa and the producer itself. This worries me very much, because we have had several producers come and go without further notice. Now, if we go back to the open kitchen policy, not knowing what even the hierarchy structure is in this company, I am not sure who the captain of the ship is. And if I don't know which direction we are going in, I would like to have formal introductions. You don't need a resume, but I would feel very inclined to see where or how my captainship is looking. Because for one, if you as a business, and I stand by this always, if you treat not only your customers right, but your internal customers, aka the workers, if you treat them right, they will work harder for you. You don't necessarily have to whip them into absolute submission, no, because these people will work overtime for you if you want to, right? So I am not sure, after we have seen producers come and go, I know what happened to PD Edge. I even don't remember what the name of the other PD is, and it doesn't really matter. But feeling that the employees aren't even treated right, that in itself is a question. So once again, open kitchen policy, the transparency will actually show you how the ship is sailing and why the ship is sailing, because people are working blood, sweat, and tears for it. But let's get on to the real business. Today I'd like to show you regarding the Season 2 of King's Raid. And mind you, as long as I scroll down, there is a lot of things. But there is one that comes to show more than anything else, which surprised me. If you look the difference of all of the comments on this particular post received so much positivity, in contrast to this one with another apology from the CEO that received, oh my gosh, so much hatred. So guess what, Vespa, if you want to take any learning from this, please stop apologizing and start adapting the open kitchen policy. Honestly, more transparency is what the people want, and more is what they need. And I'd actually like to start off with one of the last pieces. Astronaut priorities are to create King's Raid that can be loved and enjoyed by our players. We are totally aware that we will not be able to lift King's Raid up once again with our own strength. And this sentence to me is mad powerful, because it actually shows that a need for desperation. And that's where establishment thrive more, because of need, because of necessities. And I think you, the viewer, the player, might actually feel exactly the same, because I have this one person, and let me show this one. Showing about this piece of text, I don't know the specifics, my man, but I would be sad to see an official post about the discontinuing of the service, mainly because I haven't found anything to replace King's Raid. And I've invested a huge amount of time in Epic 7, Raid, Genshin, and other popular titles, but none of them are as good. And I think this is for most of the people. I see a lot of negativity on the Discords where people are talking about a dead game. And funny enough is, if it was as dead as people claim it to be, why are these people still elaborating on the fact that it is dead? Why is it still not discontinuing the service? And I have an answer for this, and that comes to the fact that I get requests daily of people that are returning within the game years after years to still find out that this game still has some light in it. And I would like to ask you guys, as maybe even a final stand, I don't know what this turn is going to be this time, but to get that little bit of positivity that is within you and use that to address this community a little bit better, because I know I'm trying to influence this as positively as I can. Unfortunately, I'm not always able to, because I can get emotional for things as well. However, we are having a game on our hands that is actually sought out by people. A lot of them, returners, veterans that still play year after year. Keep that in mind. But let's get into it. Until now, we have shared details of updates that were fixed through the developer note. However, this way of communication made it harder for us to collect and adjust the feedback while disclosing more information in advance. Yes, from now on, we will be sharing our current plans without leaving any details or adjusting. Transparency. I am loving this. King's Raid has received tremendous love and support from all over the world, and I would like to thank you and everyone for the love, words of courage, and including all of your feedback and criticism. To take a close look at the situation, I tried analyzing what part of the game were loved by users and what parts angered them. Beautiful analytics. Looking at the big picture, such as World Boss, Guild Conquest, League of Victory, League of Honor, and the overall story of the game, the story of the heroes and the costumes were the one that was loved most by the users. Great analysis, because I think these pieces of content are played the most, 100%, and as well as the characters are solid. Everybody has their own hero that they love for different reasons. It's absolutely crazy. On the other hand, content such as Royal Vault currently moved to the Stockade Vault, Stockade, Underground Labyrinth, Tower of Ordeals, what is that even? Tower of Challenge have become daily homework rather than enjoyment. 100% true, but okay. That's it with gaming most of the time. Due to this reason, these contents have been neglected over a certain period of time. The Dragon Raid content and a content where TA gear can be obtained has also lost a spot in the game after the TM gear system has been introduced. True. Great analysis. In summary, challenge related contents have received attention and love continuously, and contents which added to the game for growth and simple farming have been abandoned. Yup. With this direction in mind, we will be working to create better contents for season 2. Well, okay. I don't think like some part of the struggle and farming is always necessary within a game. Giving things out for free doesn't sound to be like something that needs to be abandoned, but I think everybody's opinion is different on that because not everybody has time. When we first planned season 2, we were planning to open a new season by the end of October 2021. Wow, that was the deadline. Whew. That was ambitious. However, the release of the new season have been delayed due to several circumstances within the company. Open kitchen policy, my dude. Like, once again, I can imagine that a cook cuts his hand off, right? And runs around, tries to get band-aids from a lot of people and such. I as a consumer at that point could show empathy for the current situation at hand. Maybe a burning building, maybe people getting sick, maybe the structure of the organization not working anymore. Guess what? It is still good to see what the hell kind of ship you are on, right? Looking at our current situation, we are expecting to open season 2 by the next year in June. Alright, okay, so this is once again a deadline. We are still not sure whether this is going to be the case. However, we are planning to open season 2 first regular season on July 1st. Okay, kind of confusing, but let's move on. We got a lot of text to go over. We will do our best to ensure that we keep with the updates according to the schedule. Honestly, I would like to see a roadmap once again that is updated because a lot of things have been changed, but let me go further than that. For the content, in King Race Season 2, we are planning to work according to the following 4 contents. PvE content in which individuals compete with scores, upgrades to the World Boss content, nice, content in which guilds compete with scores, yo, upgrades within a guild conquest, okay. Interesting. I wonder what they are actually going to do to this. The PvE challenge contest, the challenge raid. I honestly, like, I gotta give him credit. The thing that they did with challenge raid is godlike. Absolutely ridiculous. Divine punishment raid rework continuously increase the gimmicks and difficulty level of the content. Okay, it becomes a chore. So if it has a recurring amount of features where you have to adapt, then you could still see it as a chore, but also a challenge. Guild Raid rework, yo, I would love this. The real content that is currently up is the Scarecrow, and there are some guilds who are creative enough to make their own leaderboards on their own discords to try and see who can score the highest. Now, that is an own initiative from the people. It is very creative, but a little bit lackluster for anybody else. However, Ordeals of the 12 Constellations, now this is entirely new. A new content in which 4 teams, a total of 16 heroes, challenge the power of God. The expansion of Divine Punishment Raid content. Okay. So for those of you who are unaware, you can go to the memory archives, you can go to the monthly Orville, and here is where these constellations are first shown. Because guess what? What a constellation is X amount of stars set together and they are given a name. But there are 12 of them, individuals that don't look like any other characters within the game. And the matter of the distribution of the constellation has to do with the month they were born in. So if you're talking about this in a constructive manner, then this system would exceed the actual class system. And that would be able to diversify a lot of things, but it also will need a very creative mind to not make something that is absolutely broken or have a warrior with healing capabilities that he doesn't have. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but let's read further. And wow, they're going to change PvP content in which the individual will be able to compete with each other. League of Victory, Honor, and League of Crowns, which is entirely new. A tournament mode. I am curious for that. Content in which guilds compete with other guilds. Strongest guild content. Another tournament. Now, truth be told, the one thing that hasn't been added to this list is Guild War, and I am within a guild that is number 1 in the EU, number 4 on Guild Conquest ranking leaderboard, and guess what? We are in Diamond for Guild War. And truthfully, I don't think it's because of the bad will of the people, because they still play a lot, but they are not willing to do it for something that has no incentive, no decent rewards whatsoever. So if Vespa could, on my personal behalf, receive a suggestion, please rework the rewards of that piece of content. As for the new story content, I see a lot of text, but from what I take from it, after they add King's Raid 2, we will get more chapters every single 6 months. Every single 6 months, a new large-scale update. I think that is highly ambitious, and I'm not quite sure whether they will be upholding that. However, I do like the ambition. With that, there are new heroes that will be changing. Also, we are planning to release new heroes at the start of every season in order to stabilize the meta of the battles. For every regular season, we are planning to add 5 to 7 heroes every regular season. So would that mean more than one character every month if they take the 7 ambition? Wow, that is still really interesting. Additionally, for all contents including World Boss Guild Conquest, a League of Crowns, strongest guild content, which is new, Challenge Raid, Divine Punishment Raid, Guild Raid, the Ordeals of the Constellations, we will be implementing separate point systems and ranking systems will be implemented for every regular season. Wow, so we have a 6-month pointing system? That is, what? Interesting. I'm not sure how that will play out. We are also planning to provide extraordinary prizes for the final rankers. We will make sure to organize and announce the further details regarding the system and rewards separately in the near future. Now, this breeds one thing and one thing in particular. If you have a 6-month rewarding system, there will be people scared for it. That's one. But there will also be a lot of people willing to play, because if you miss out on one day, you miss out on rewards. Wow. I like this idea to keep people locked in. That's a form of slavery that I like, because it's still because you still are subject to your own volition whether you play or not. The graphics for season 2. It's almost been 5 years since the release of King's Raid 2. We wanted to rework the graphics of the game in order to maintain the uniqueness of the King's Raid style. We underwent brainstorming and worked out the R&D thoroughly. As a result, we decided to upgrade the appearances of all heroes instead of changing them. Overall 3D rework is being proceeded at the moment. Fields that were constructed in a layered 2D method are being converted to a 3D style with a minimal change in artwork. This has created more freedom for the camera movements, and we are looking forward to show off the new style in the future to our players. Moreover, we have removed the dizziness that might be caused by the movements of the camera. And I think this has to do with the fact that within the videos that they showed off several battles where the camera was still moving while the battle occurred. Not to mention about the customization within the game, we will be making additional improvements by expanding what we have prepared for the Legend costumes to a whole new level. I hope they do, because let's face it, I looked at the sneak peek, I was not hyped as much as I was. We're planning to provide new animations for heroes as one of the new customization options of the game. Currently, we have a total of 3 appearances for each hero, the 3, 4, and 5-star heroes. However, we will be removing the development process for the appearance of 3 and 4-star heroes in the future. They stopped that long ago. Do I like it? I'm not quite sure. I hope they keep the ones that they already have, but I do like them to put their resources elsewhere. I like that. As time passed by, the performances and significance of 3 and 4-star have faded, and most of our players have preferred equipping new costumes instead of using the old appearances of 3 and 4. And this is the reason why we've decided to stop working on them. As for the costumes and customization parts, we noticed that these items were being purchased mostly during the release. However, after a certain period of time, they were forgotten and sales have dropped tremendously. Okay? We've noticed that old costumes were taking a large portion of the special shop for a long time. In the future, we will gradually change the sales method in a way costumes and customization items are sold within a limited period of time or sold in limited quantities. As a result, we will be implementing new changes so that costume and customization items can be valuable collections in the game. Yo, I like this. what better than being able to show off that you're a veteran, that you have items that other people cannot have. This will, one, increase the sales of whatever these items are occurring, and it will also be some sort of a trophy for the people that really wanted to invest into their special character. However, the one thing that I would really like is more customization options. I like to have my Nikki on golden hair because of the golden outfit that she got. All sorts of those customizations will look insanely good, and for the creative people among us, they can come up with some crazy stuff. The part in which we had most trouble with during our services in King's Raid was the lack of tests for different variables within the game. We've worked out to try most of the tests as possible. However, we had difficulties to reproduce the exact same issues with different variables experienced by our players due to the lack of staff members within King's Raid. This is smart. I know where this is going. In order to provide better quality gaming environment, to check the issues in advance, to secure the time to implement changes, and to provide better services whenever a new hero is released or changes are made to the meta, we will make sure to reveal them through the PTR server or the actual game server. Therefore, we will be checking any bugs or tech issues such as balancing before the official release, and we will be implementing the complaints and feedback to the game. We will try to implement the test before starting from the period we're moving on from 1 to 2. Once again, we will try our best to listen to your opinions and feedback to provide a better game for our players. There is going to be a public test realm. This is smart because they are literally saying something that I knew for years. They don't have enough staff to make sure that everything is working correctly. And it's not necessarily because it's not working correctly, because they have limited time to test everything. What better than to use the people? People will extensively try out stuff. And the fun thing is, with a public testing realm, if we are provided with then anything, right? Upgrading features, 5-star unique weapons, 5-star unique treasures, we can actually come up with crazy stuff and actually destroy the meta that is currently around without having us to waste our own investments and then find out later that it's garbage. This opens up so much good stuff. But now for a piece of concern. I've already seen a lot of the comments down below. Ridiculous. And I do share some of the worries that were voiced right about here. The implementation of the auction system. Starting from season 2, we will be opening an auction system in King's Raid. We believe that the items that have been obtained by our players through a long time investment and efforts are important assets that have been collected in King's Raid throughout the time. We've been thinking that the implementation system of an auction system is needed to conserve and maintain these precious items. Thus, we're planning to create an auction system which most players might be familiar with, where purchasing and selling items will be available. And this is troubling, man, because this will open up real money trading to a game. If you have pay to win in any game, it's due to auction systems, 100%. This is where Lost Ark turned from actual dark stuff to godlike stuff, where they made sure that they didn't go to a pay to win route, right? That is the reason why Lost Ark in Korea is currently thriving. Also, we will be supporting an auction system merged with all the servers in order to maintain sufficient number of trades going back and forth between the players. That is interesting, because an auction system doesn't necessarily have to be bad unless implemented right, but you would really have to be careful on doing this, because you could lose all of your players due to a system like this. New players will be able to purchase items they need through the auction system, and on the other hand, players who have been playing King's Raid for a long time will be able to remove items they don't need and will have the opportunity to look for other items. Additionally, we will think that the system will vitalize the community, as new and old players will be able to support and communicate with each other. Well, if this is the incentive, right, to have newer players being supported by the old, it is a great way of addressing your game. But I'm not sure whether this is the right step to do so, because there are other ways to incentivize old players to help newer players. Like, you can make parties right now to get people through the story mode. as a veteran player, it doesn't give me anything. But if I look at other games where they use mentorships, for instance, like a new person comes up, like you're just starting to play Kings, right? You're 3 months in, and you want your buddy to play, but you want him to play at your same level. Guess what? You can mentor him and pull him all the way up, and in turn give you an item in return. And that will be the incentive for the veterans to help the newer players. So that would be a more vital way, safe way for the older players to help the new. I don't think an auction system necessarily will help this, because this can be exploited to so many lengths. You can literally make so many alts and then start trading left, right, and center for the items that you actually want. Not sure. I'm worried that this game will turn into a Pokédex collector, man. But it really depends on the currency as well. We have not decided on the type of we've not decided on the type of currency that will be used to exchange the items. However, we are thinking about adding a separate type of currency for this occasion. Please, nothing that you could pay for, because if they do, it will crush this game. We have come to conclude that gold or rubies, the type of currencies that can be created and obtained unlimitedly, will not be the right type of the currency to be used to create a stable trading cost within the system. Yep. For more details on the auction system, we will make sure to go over the details once again and announce it through the official pages. Once again, a big voice of concern, but if they get this right, it might be super interesting. And their goal to help out newer players by using the old is a great incentive, but like I said, there could be other ways. Modification of the game's meta. We believe that the meta of the current game of Season 1 had its own fun and depth. Nevertheless, there are still issues that need to be fixed, and we will be working on it to get the game right back on track. First of all, we had severe issues with the change and remove gear constantly due to the gear tier system. Yep. Every time a new chapter or TM gear came out, wow, we had a hard time listening to the complaints of the players. Yeah, so it's not necessarily a topic for just this game. Instead of deleting the tier system, we will be implementing a system in which players will have to strengthen their gear continuously in Season 2. This could be interesting, because this is sounding literally like Lost Ark upgrading system, where you start out with a piece of gear and you keep it with you always, and you will be able to upgrade it with every single patch that hits, like an eye level system, so you will. Moreover, changes will be made to the gear drop system, and content such as field raids, etc., and rework the gear system will be proceeded. There will be several parts of the current Season 1 system that will move on to the next season. As for the current gear system, we're discussing and making additional changes to the plan. We'll be providing more details about these changes throughout the next developer note once the fixes are made to our plans. I am highly curious about this, because if they would get a system like Lost Ark upgrading system, this could be used for days to come. Very good addition. At the moment, we're being extra careful of the way we can transition Season 1's TM gear to Season's 2 gear system. We're reviewing various measures in which we can minimize the loss of the current players. Oh, so they're already saying there's going to be a loss, and guess what? It will have to be. If you want to adapt to a system like that, there will be some losses. Items that you gain right now that won't be used in the near future. I think this is rough, but a necessity at the same time. Besides the tier system, options are also one of our top concerns when modifying the game's data. Besides the tier system, options are also one of our top concerns when modifying the game's meta. Currently, there are too many multiplication operations and accumulated in the operations, causing hyperinflations of the damages within the game. Continuously adding OP heroes. Balance adjustment for all heroes, sudden increase in the difficulty level of the game, and additional measures taken to balance the contents, etc., are factors that have caused hyperinflation in many different ways. The fact that they know what they're talking about, because let me boil it down to you. because they made balance patches, there was a sudden spike into everybody's usage of certain heroes, which then in turn turned the game into where you have a roster of 100 plus heroes into a roster where you use only 10. By that method, it also spiked up the difficulty of the content because it needed to be met with a certain type of challenge. How do you do that to make content harder, but then in turn make sure to put a lot of characters into the trash can? The fact that they know about this and don't want to go into a next situation like this, honestly, this paragraph is showing to me that they know that the way they have been addressing the last half year or more shows that they were in the wrong and trying to renew this. This is godlike. When season 2 is open, the new and returning players will come to play the game, and this is when we will encounter different kind of issues. If we don't deal with the issues encountered with hyperinflation, we believe that we won't be able to provide a gaming environment that satisfies all players at once. Yes, but because this way, one of the absolute quirks of this game is the wide variety of liked characters not being played. We are able to address that with this. And obviously, it will come with some hurt to some people. But I like the idea. Therefore, we will be decreasing the spectrum of overall performances of heroes. This time, we will be trying to approach this with an upward system. In other words, if the stats of our heroes are 1 to 100, currently we're planning to push players with lower stats up from 50 to 100 or 70 to 100. Honestly, I don't get what they mean with this. And I could be theorizing on it, but I have been completely wrong in the past. And with this, I could be absolutely wrong because this could be all of everything. The damage gap due to the high stats of top users will be arranged within a range that can be recognized. Interesting. Please check below for the details of our current plans. The difficulty level of all the content season 1 will be adjusted from level 1 to 100 into 90 to 100. What? After the adjustment will be made to the difficulty level, all the new heroes that will be obtained will be level 90. What? 5 stars. The limits of the heroes level shown according to the Transcendence stage will be removed. No more Transcendence. However, there's one thing that I really don't like about it, and that is the fact that people cannot get the rubies by actually transcending their characters. Please, if you can then get the heroes, can we get the 1.5k rubies for acquiring these heroes so that the newer players don't have to suffer from the actual destruction of literally 100 characters that can be acquired and transcended? The chapters of season 1, you'll be able to level up the heroes to level 100. In the chapters of season 2, you will be able to level 200. Yo, what happens to the leveling potions at that point? Because stated by this, I need to make a lot of wow, I got 100 heroes to get to level 200. The performances of the heroes and gears they use used to be 2080, so hero first and then gear later, and they're making the adjustment to a 4060. So yes, you get gear, but the gear itself will not spike people all that much. That is quite interesting because that means that the fundamentals of a character then do matter a lot. Number of percent option will be reduced, and the changes will be made so that the fixed damage or fixed defenses are applied. I'm not sure how this is going to work in World Boss, but I'm mad curious how this will turn out. We will be able to make big changes to the damages in season 1. However, for season 2, damage will be limited up to max 6 digits. Please don't do the same thing as you guys did with World Boss and actually make a cap so where we can kill the people. So please do your math in order to not have everybody see a 6 times 9 digit on your screen every single time, because they had this issue with Maple Story with the actual damage cap. I hope they won't do it this way, because it also limits your growth within the game when it comes to acquiring gear and making progression along the ways. So This needs to be, once again, very carefully implemented. Now, this piece of text is boggling my mind. We will be separating attributes from target damage and wide area damage, and we will be adding resistant wide area damage. Now, this is interesting, especially on the PvP side of things, because this might change everything. So currently, if you have a character that does a ridiculous amount of damage AoE, there is a absolute top tier straight away. Rebel Claws. Now, if you will downscale this by a lot, this will influence the current meta so heavily where I don't know where this is going to go, and whether this is just a mechanic within the game or whether it's applied to specific heroes as well. We will make sure to proceed the plans mentioned above after sufficient tests and by implementing the feedback of our players. We will always be open up to good opinions and feedback, and we won't hesitate to implement it into our game. Please feel free to share your opinions through channels available in King's Raid. Even if we encounter difference between our opinions and players, we continue to try our best to come with an agreement which can satisfy both sides. Even though we are developers of this game, we are always surprised at how our players are cleverer and keen than our team in many different ways. This is the best sentence in this whole piece of text, man. This is beautiful because they need to be using the people. Hero balance adjustment. In season 2, there won't be OP heroes that will be released intentionally. I don't know whether this has to do with kicking P the edge, but I like this statement as well, because new content equals new character that gets the beating, and that increases sales for a company. If they actually drift from this idea, then we can have a player-centered game. Moreover, we will be working on a balance adjustment of various heroes after the release of an OP hero, and we will make sure to avoid gradual increase of the hero stats. Yes, because that will definitely blow up your earlier idea with having the damage numbers lower to whatever the hell you are. However, looking at the game based on the PvP content, hero performances will be similar in overall. Instead, we plan to specialize the usabilities of heroes for different contents. In simple words, players will have better advantages by strengthening a wide number of heroes. Interesting. I like that. Improvements will be made as well to specialized factors for each of the classes. For classes such as tank, healer, and dealer, we are planning to add different options per class to give them a clear and specific goal. Yes! Like, this is also so great because tanks really fell off the bandwagon at some point, and right now there's only one decent tank within the game, at least on the PvP side of things, that is absolutely ridiculously broken, and that is Dosada. If you look at the system based on only one hero, it is clear that there is less freedom of setting up a team. However, we're planning to implement a system in which the overall organization and strategy of the team will be meaningful depending on the class of the heroes. Could this be a total overhaul onto the assassin? Ladies and gentlemen, are we looking at one of our ideas in our podcast? Ooh! The option for each of the classes to be related deeply with the gear system. Ooh! Are we getting class specific like TM lines? Woohoo! We'll be providing more details of these options as we introduce you to the new gear system later on. I'm good. Yo, yesterday I was mad as hell. Why the hell am I hyped right now? It's crazy. Like, this is some sort of a toxic relationship where they will treat you badly and then say, sorry, I will do better from now on. I'm gonna do X, Y, Z, and there you are. Like a puppy, like, yay! Crazy, man. The soul weapon and the power of the 12 constellations. Yo, I like this. I like the name, I like the idea. To start off with the topic of soul weapon, we'd like to inform you that the value of the soul weapons you have obtained in Season 1 Trial of the God King will remain similar in Season 2. In Season 2, we will be introducing a new gear. Okay, Power of the 12 Constellations. This is a tentative name, but we've seen it before. They might keep it, and I like the name. Which will be, I'm going to call it C12 from now on. Which will be relevant to Season 1 soul weapons. Season 2 heroes won't be able to obtain the soul weapons from Season 1. Wow, but Season 1 will be able to maintain the soul weapons. With the power of the 12 constellations, Season 1 heroes will be able to select whether to use the soul weapons in the... Are you serious? Like, I don't know if people pick up on this, but that means that we have literally more than 100 characters where we can diversify and have a more unique build of a team. I like this. I like this. Oh, wow. I like this so much. However, it will take some time to develop the power of the 12 constellations of all heroes of Season 1. Yeah, we've seen this with the Soul Weapon, and I'd rather have them take their time to fix this stuff. We'd like to ask for your understanding regarding this matter, and we will make sure to develop this content elaborately as soon as possible. Whew. Yo, I need visuals on this, man. I am curious. Like, this feels to me at the start of where Soul Weapons came up. Like, the release of it was horrible bad, but me getting hyped for that, I'm getting the same vibes here. The power of the 12th constellation will be a lasting system. It's a passive. Okay, so I wouldn't call it a bummer, but into the Soul Weapons, especially on the PvP side of things, having your character not be able to use any of that because the acquisition of the whole thing is bad, having a passive system that will help and probably bring out the best into your characters, that seems interesting. Different from the Soul Weapons in which are activated active, we will be providing more details about this content as well through the future announcements. I can't wait. Removal of server contents. It's been a long time since the release of King's Raid. We're planning to delete some of the contents which used to play some time ago, but which aren't necessary anymore. Tower of Challenge, Tower of Ordeals, Underground Labyrinth. Wow. There's a lot of freebies that they're going to delete. But luckily, it will make sure that you don't have as many chores. I do, however, think that they should just rework the Tower of Challenge, because I think this is still fun to do at the start. Like, if you're starting out, it's still a fun piece of content, but they should address this differently. Just deleting it just seems like a waste. These tower-related contents have become contents in which you obtain rewards regularly. They have become homework-like contents after clearing them once. Instead of investing our efforts in maintaining these contents, we will be focusing them on contents like Challenge Raid and Divine Punishment Raid, and we'll be reworking on these contents continuously. On the Tower of Challenge things, this piece of content, if you address this nicely with a ranking system, for instance, with gradually nastier bosses, well, technically that's Eclipse, I guess, but I still like this in all games. I'm not sure about this. As the rewards you could obtain through these old contents, we'll be distributing them through other contents in the game. Great. We're keeping the freebies, so people shouldn't be mad. Little Raiders, oh my god, are one of the top contents in which we have received constant feedback. We have received feedback such as unnecessary content that does not have any connection with the contents in King's Raid or content. Wow. I do get the sentiment, because after the newest patch, I thought this whole new Little Raider concept was just ass. We understand that most of the feedback, negative feedback or complaints, therefore we decided to delete the contents related to the Little Raiders. I do think it's good that they do this. It is very humane, like, where if you make an error, you try to just add to it to then make it work. It's like creating a dish and then say, oh shit, the spices aren't good, let's add more. But then coming up with too many spices within the same dish and add more spices, and then it turns into utter garbage, right? It's the same thing with painting. It's like, oh, I want to have a certain type of color, let's mix every type of color in there, and guess what, it all turns to brown, for those of you who know, which means caca. So actually deleting some of it is, I think it's a good way. Is it then wasted resources? Yes, but at some point I think we all gotta take this hurt. Most importantly, we also know that it is our role to compensate the time and the money our players have invested in the Little Raiders. Nice. As for this matter, we're discussing about ways in which we can separate Little Raiders and the imprint as stats, making them into exchangeable items. We believe the Little Raiders have appropriate appearances as pets with King's Raid. We'll be improving some of the effects, and additional upgrades will be made so that they can be visually pleasing, like customization items. So they're gonna keep some of this in, but more as a customization part. As for the imprinted effects, we will be adding a system where players will be able to manage different effects. I like that. The system will allow the players to store and conserve the imprinted effects in marbles. Additionally, we are also planning to make these two factors into exchangeable items. I'm not quite sure how I should read this. Are we going to keep the stats, or are we going to get a separate currency where we can give this away? Because it doesn't seem fair to have people, let's say the veteran players, right as of now, to be able to benefit from the actual stats that cannot be acquired later on. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to look like. Dragon raids, okay, I don't care about this or the reason why. Remove this. This is going to hurt me, personally. Different from what we planned in the first place. The content of summoning with gold has become meaningless within the game. No, it's not. It's very good. It gives me unlimited stamina, you doofus. The purchasing price for this content is noticeably low, and it has been hard for us to exchange or add significant items to it. This is why we will be removing this option, and then we'll be implementing the efficiency of the product through other contents in the game. Yay, unlimited gold. Yay, no more unlimited stamina. This is gonna hurt me. So if you guys are ever going to see my stream, you're gonna be mind blown about the amount of gold and the amount of stamina that I will have, because this is what I will be farming for the next year for it to come. I can guarantee you this much. Hall of Heroes will be gone. By crafting items are gone, and you can immediately click on things. That's nice. The Heroes in, oh no. Please don't remove this. This was nice. Heroes In is one of the contents that we've decided to delete from the game. Most of the players use this content to obtain rewards through the roulette. However, we think that it isn't a content that can provide fun at all. It's more of a prestigious thing, if anything. They don't have to delete this. There's nothing wrong with this. We also think that it has been a stress than enjoyment to interact with the heroes to recruit them. Instead, we thought that it would be better for the players to build up kinship rate of their heroes by using them in game. Sounds like a new feature, and it could be really good, and it could then once again add to people being more in tune with their characters. We might have small or big changes for season 2 during our journey, but what matters right now is that we revealed all of our current plans for season 2 without hiding any of them. Some of you might be looking forward to these new changes, but at the same time there may be some who might be worried about how this will affect the game. We would like to welcome our raiders to share your honest feedback and opinions with us. Beside the official community pages, we're planning to create an additional communications channel in order to listen to all of your feedback and opinions and carefully make season 2 successful. After our final preparations for this channel, we will be announcing more details for the platform through a separate post through our community pages. Make this a suggestions page that is open for everyone, and not just like one person sets up an idea that is like for 60-70% good, but it needs tweaking. Let the other people know this and try to tweak it with them. Make a platform for people that can just bind together like absolute cohesion to then make sure that we come up with the craziest ideas of all. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are stuck through this whole video and are just as hype as me, please take a word of caution. Be a little bit skeptical, but be hype at the same time, because I think this is one of the greatest steps into the right direction that Vespa is taking. I am not sure whether PD Jin is the right person that we need. I like the way that they did not mouth any of the other producers, but it did seem like a solid stab into the face, like the direction that you guys went in is wrong. We're gonna turn this over 180 direction, turn this into a player-based game. That being said, put it down into the comments, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.